Hey guys, it's Shadow the Rat, and for today's video, I'm going to be going over the backstory of my 3 new rats. So my 3 new rats include Pickle, which here is the Martin girl, and she's the sister to my 2 girls, Olive and Donut, which are my Black Rex girls, and then also Egg and Omelet. So this here is Omelet, and she has a twin sister called Egg, who has a green tail, and Omelet here has the blue tail, and that's just kind of how I tell them apart. It's just food dye, it's completely safe, and I'll make another video about that at some point, but just know that it's just to tell them apart, and it's completely harmless. Anyways, I wanted to go over their backstory and how I ended up getting them. So first I'm going to go over the 2 pink-eyed white girls, because I think their backstory is a little bit longer. So basically what happened is when Donut and Olive were about 11 weeks old, I got contacted by someone who had bought a feeder rat for its intended purpose, and it ended up giving birth the night after they got it. So they had a bunch of babies on their hands, and they just weren't sure what they wanted to do. They weren't sure if they wanted to use the babies for the same sort of purpose they had bought the mom for, or if they wanted to raise the babies and see how they did temperament-wise and rehome them to pet homes. And we talked about it some, and I'm not going to go over any details. I don't want any shaming to happen here, but in the end they decided to raise the babies and see if they had good temperament when it came time to rehome them, and if they did, they were going to rehome them to pet homes. Are you being naughty, you little bat? You being a little naughty nose? That's right, this is Donut. Good girl. And I also offered to take 2 girls if there was any girls in the baby group when they came of age to be rehomed. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I didn't hear from her after that until the babies were 5.5 weeks old, when she contacted me again and told me that she did have some girls and that they were ready to go to homes, and if I still wanted 2 of them, then they were available. So I said I had to ask my parents, which I did, and they were okay with it. So I went ahead and got them. That was pretty much it. She did warn me that they might be a bit skittish because she didn't really have time to work with them, and also they came from a feeder rat, so temperament really isn't guaranteed. But one nice thing that I knew about them was that they actually came from the same feed store as my girls Bean, Biscuit, Oreo, Espresso, and Coconut. And for those of you who have been watching me for a while, you might recognize those 5 rat names as 5 of the rats on my channel that were actually some of the most popular rats on here, because they were some of the friendliest rats. So yeah, I had some high hopes for their temperament because my experience with rats from that store has been that they are all very, very confident and very human oriented. And I have to say, yeah, the babies are really sweet and honestly pretty social and confident. I've only had them for 3 days at this point, so they are doing amazingly well. They've really warmed up to me, and I'm just really excited to see where I'll go with them. I mean, they've already learned some cool little tricks, which I'm trying to show you here, but the older rats are getting in the way. Come here, little baby. Show us your spin trick, huh? That's not your spin trick. Show your spin trick. There you go. But anyways, they are just amazing little rats, and I'm very happy with my decision to add them to my group. With that being said, let's talk about Pickle now, because she is a little bit of a different story. So basically what happened with Pickle is that the lady who gave me Olive and Donut, and who bred them in the first place, ended up keeping 5 females. And 3 of them were Martins, so rats that look like Pickle, and 2 of them were Black Rexes, like Olive and Donut. And she was going to keep the 5 females and the dad, because she had gotten the dad neutered, but the dad was being pretty rough on the females, and they were having some trouble accepting him, which I kind of understand, because when I was adding Olive and Donut to the group, my older girls gave them a lot of issues, mainly because the younger girls were extremely sensitive, and whenever the older girls even looked at them wrong, they would kind of squeak and freak out. So I can definitely see how the intro may have been difficult, considering that the dad was actually a lot bigger than my older girls. Honestly, the males are so much bigger in this litter. My females are still under 300 grams, and they're only a little over 4 months old, but I was rat sitting their brothers, and those boys are all over 500 grams already at just 4 months old. So the dad was probably like 600, 700 grams, and he's not fat, he's just a huge rat. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, baby. But he's such a large rat that I can definitely see how it intimidated the girls, considering how small they are in comparison to just their brothers, let alone the dad. So I can understand her wariness about keeping them together, considering their reaction when first introduced. Now, there was also some male rats in that litter, and she ended up rehoming all of them, because again, she was just going to keep the girls and the neutered dad. But 3 of the males were returned to her a few weeks later because their adopter was moving somewhere, and she had initially wanted to take the rats with her. She had plans to do so, but she ended up moving to a small apartment, and it just kind of didn't work out. So she returned the rats, which is exactly what should happen in the case of someone intentionally breeding rats. You should always be willing to take back the rats in that sort of case. But anyways, she got the 3 males back, and she housed them with the neutered dad. They got along right away, which was great because they had actually been living together since they were 5 weeks old. But at that point, she had a lot of rats. So she asked me if I wanted one of the males with the idea that I could have him neutered and keep him with my girls. And I thought that was a pretty good idea, so I was all for it. But unfortunately, my parents were not really on board with that, so she offered me Pickle instead. And she offered me Pickle because, again, she had a ton of rats, and she had 5 females at this point, with 3 of them being martins. So she thought that she might as well kind of round out the groups, have 4 males and 4 females. So, of course, they live separately. They live in a double critter nation, so she has it separated in the middle, just like I did when I had the male rats visiting. But anyways, it kind of all worked out because she gave me Pickle. And again, this here is Pickle. She is a absolutely insanely hyper rat. She is easily as hyper as Bean and Espresso. She's just absolutely crazy, and she's also in heat right now, which is part of the reason she is acting really high-strung. She's actually been the one who gives me the most issues with the babies. They are living together, and they do really well in the cage, but outside the cage, when she gets really excited, she will chase after them and freak them out. So it's kind of a balance of having to watch them closely to make sure that she doesn't go too far or scare the babies too much. But as you can see, the babies are also totally into instigating it. Oh my gosh, Sugar is stealing all my tissues. I need to steal this tissue box back. Anyways, that's the story of how I added Pickle and Omelet and Egg to the group. Hopefully you guys enjoyed hearing their stories, and I hope you will enjoy seeing their growth just like I will. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. As you can see, they are still getting used to each other, and they are not fully bonded yet, so it's a bit of a process because I am having to do 3-way intros. They actually are living together at this point because they do really well in the cage, but outside the cage they can be a little bit too crazy for each other, so we're working on that. I do plan to make a intro video because I've been recording it this entire time, so hopefully that will help some people out who are doing some intros with their own rats. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!